is up, fellow and future psychonauts? I would like to take this short moment of silence to pack our bowls. All packed? Cheers, my friends. Now, you've never done what I just did. I'm making this video for you. I want to tell you what you're going to expect and the things that not everybody tells you if you're going to get started doing drugs, smoking weed, anything of the sort. I'm going to get a drink of water so that I don't sound like shit for the rest of this. Be right back. Now, a lot of you are probably going to start like me with vaping or another form of nicotine that is often everyone's first drug that's not caffeine. But honestly, as a current nicotine addict, that shit is just a huge money drain, let alone the problems to your health. I don't have to mention it. You've all heard it before. I'm not your fucking health class teacher, professor, whatever. But, try to avoid nicotine, obviously. I mean, I'm not doing this video to encourage drugs, but if you're gonna do them, smoke some fucking weed. Or vaporize it. It's honestly healthier. I'm not just talking about, fuck it, we'll get to that. The only drugs I think you should stick with if you're gonna do any is weed, acid, mushrooms, DMT, psychedelics. Just psychedelics. And weed is a mild hallucinogen. So that is somewhat under the list still. Now, be very careful if it's anything other than weed. I fucked myself up with shrooms. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do them. They help many people, but they also fuck many people up because people are stupid with them, like I was. It was not the mushrooms' fault. I did it. I took way more than I should have in a bad state. We'll get to that story in another video. I already have plenty to talk about here. So, back to what I was saying earlier about vaporizing weed and smoking weed and all that. So, if you don't already know, there's many different ways to consume weed. You probably already know about joints and bongs and edibles and shit. I started off with a cartridge, just a vape, like a box mod, but for dabbing, if you are into vaping. And honestly, unless you're in a legal state, I do not recommend them. Even if you are in a legal state, that's not the best way to consume dabs. But it's fine, it's convenient. But if you're in an illegal state like me, you shouldn't do them. Or I just wouldn't trust them. I still occasionally use them. And disposables, they're same thing, just disposable. You don't reuse the same battery, but you just don't know what people are putting in them. Something like bud or dabs, yeah, people could technically put stuff in them, but they're a lot less likely to because you're a lot more likely to notice. People know when their bud has fucking fentanyl in it. That's why people don't put fentanyl in bud. All those stories are fucking bullshit. And then next, we got what I'd like to call sticks. You got joints, blunts, and spliffs. Now, you probably, if you haven't smoked before, probably think these are all the same thing. Joints, that's papers. That's weed wrapped in papers, fucking zigzags, you fucking raws, juicy J's. Blunts, that used to just mean wrapped in tobacco leaf, cigarillo, something along those lines. But that's also now including hemp leaves and hemp wraps that are designed to look like tobacco or cigarillo leaves. And then you got spliffs, which is usually it wrapped in paper, but they also put tobacco in there. That's what fucking British people do. I used people for lack of a better term. There's probably something better to describe them. And then you got bowls. My fucking favorite. Bowls. That's what I smoked earlier. And it wasn't no hand pipe. I'm not out here smoking meth like some of y'all like to do. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a good old hand pipe if you're starting out, I guess. But grow up, guys. If you're still daily driving a fucking hand pipe and you're out of high school, get a fucking bong, pussy. Like, at least get a tiny ass bong. At least get a bubbler, bro. You can't do that to yourself. No. If you have no idea what I just said, a bubbler, that's basically like one of those pipes, but it's just got a little chamber for water in it down there. But it's not a water pipe. A water pipe is what you go in the head store and call a bong when you want to get a bong. So if you're trying to get a bong, ask for a water pipe, or else they're gonna look at you funny, and you ain't gonna get anything. And then lastly, we got dabs. Y'all can wait for those. Y'all can wait for those. Y'all just ain't ready. And one thing to keep in mind, while you usually do smoke bowls, there are also now ball vaporizers where you can just vaporize plant material, which is great and a lot less bad for your lungs. I mean, just look at a bong used after vaporization and after combustion, which I just did a combustion rip. That's what I'm used to. I cannot afford no fucking ball vape. Those shits are expensive. If you care about your health, be ready to spend $500 on your weed setup, bro. Or the healthiest way. I wouldn't go easiest way. Edibles. If you're in an illegal state, find someone who makes them themselves or make them yourself. If you're in a legal state, shit, the dispo gonna hook you up, bro. Just they'll figure you out. Don't even gotta worry. Wait, unless you go to like a really shitty one, just check the reviews like any business. Strains and sativa and indica, you'll hear that thrown around. Don't even really worry about it. Everyone's gonna say, oh, indica, in the couch, it makes you sleepy, blah blah blah. Sativa, you're up and energetic, and blah blah blah. When I smoke, I'm sleepy regardless because I'm fucking sleepy. Weed's gonna hit you different. It's gonna hit everyone different. You got 10 people on the same fucking blunt. They're probably all gonna get different highs because they're 10 different people in 10 different places in life. Now, if you're in an illegal state buying, don't fuck up like I did my first few times. This motherfucker just gave me a little, I think it was like a backwood wrapper or something rolled up. I was like, alright, he probably got this shit in there. I feel like a little bag in there. I don't know what weed feels like, you know? So I don't even look at it. I give him the money. I walk home. I dab him up, you know? I check that bitch. It's an empty plastic bag inside. Like a bag that weed should be in. Weed isn't in. How was I that dumb? But you are too. If you take a lot of shrooms, you'll realize we all are. But be careful. When I did them shrooms, and I've done some other things, you gotta worry about the laws if you're getting into drugs and shit. Depending on your state, it might be illegal and they still might not give a fuck. It might be illegal and they treat it like fucking fentanyl. So just be careful, unless you don't have to. And me, I try not to give a fuck, unless there's a cop out there. So we big showing. Even if there is, they'll just take my shit. I ain't Pablo, I ain't selling. So they ain't got shit they ain't gonna take shit from me. They're gonna take shit from me. They're not gonna give shit to me like charges. They've taken shit from me before, plenty of shit, like hundreds of dollars worth of paraphernalia. Didn't even get a charge. Like it's good. It's all chill. And while some drugs can, when used correctly, be great for your mental health, obviously there are many circumstances where that is not the case. I ended up in 2 mental hospitals after my last shroom trip. What the fuck? I'm getting like nose pain and shit. Feels like a nerve's fucked up in my nose. Like in my nose bone. That's like, fuck. Like I got punched or something. That's great. But yeah, just take care of yourself. Create good support networks around yourself. At least try to. Try to create good support networks around your friends. Listen to them. Pay attention to the signs and shit. You've heard it 1,000 times. I don't gotta be the fucking gospel preacher. Yada yada yada. Men can cry. And you're a pussy if you don't. And back to the mushrooms. If you're religious or anti-religious or just very uneasy about the idea of your religious beliefs changing, you might not want to do it. I mean, go ahead. You should.